Hello, hello. Welcome back to Coffee Table Talks on One Love Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Have you noticed that my voice has become one week? I should be humble.
Just
radio.
Come.
But I'm excited to be on radio.
Yeah.
We've missed our radio family.
Yes, we absolutely have.
Yes.
So it's so good to be back today and
excited.
on a high.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Miss P, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Lovely.
Yes.
My pleasure. We have an exciting guest in the studio with us today. I think it's been a great last couple of weeks, and today we're taking it, a notch higher. And we have the lovely lady Susan Wenda Mulongoti in the studio with us today. Welcome to Coffee Table Talk.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I met Susan a couple of years ago, and pretty much I think our relationship over the years has evolved from client to friend, and I think maybe we perhaps even inspire each other in life, along the way.
Yes,
with
we do. We do.
the interactions perhaps being more on Facebook than anything.
Yes.
And it's just amazing how much smaller the world has become now. So I do not want to blow your own horn, but just for the for the purposes of our of our guests. This lovely lady, she's purely Zambian, born and bred in Zambia. She's an engineer, an entrepreneur, writer, mother and wife.
That, I was like, wow.
She is loaded.
Yes.
Absolutely loaded. And for me, when I looked at her bio, apart from the fact that she's got all of these things going, but there's just two things that are beginning to excite me more and more. The more I meet certain Zambian women, and it's the fact that people are beginning to highlight their roles of wives,
Yes.
of being a wife and a mother. But before we get into all of that, Susan, this is you. We would like you to tell us about you in your own words. Welcome to Coffee Table Talks.
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. I was discussing with someone. When someone says, "Who are you?" most people will rush to talk about what they do, which is really not the same thing. So if I am to describe myself, who am I? I'm a passionate person.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm a very passionate person. I'm passionate about a lot of things, and I like to develop my passion into something real. Yeah, that's who I am.
You like to develop your passion into something real.
Yes.
That's
like
powerful.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we go on. Where did the journey start? Who you are is not what you've studied or what you do.
Yes.
So let us start with the cream. When you think about yourself, who are you first before we get into the credentials and all of those other things?
Okay, what I am is, I think I'm a natural born creative. I like to create things. That's why I said I'm passionate about things. So I like to create things, and that's what attracted me to go into engineering. Because at the core of it, engineering is actually about creating things.
Yes.
Although maybe we'll talk more about that later. The Zambian environment, engineering isn't always about creating.
Oh, yeah.
So I like to create things. When I write, I'm creating something. When I'm designing something, I'm creating. So I'm a creative, like you.
But and it's funny. I never thought of engineer as creative. I'm always thinking, mathematics,
Yes.
this rigid mindset. But I'm like, you are right.
Yes.
You are creating.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And that's actually what the word engineer means.
Oh, yeah, to engineer.
Engineer.
I don't know why we have this thing where we just feel like these engineers are rigid and they're not really as creative. You want to separate and say an artist and an engineer.
Yes.
But you guys are creating
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Because all these things we're using right now, the microphone, the sound system, all this was created by an engineer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So an engineer at the core is
It's a creative.
Yeah. Well, perhaps maybe the reason why, to borrow from Tehila's line of thought, the reason why we think a lot like that is because indeed engineering now practical math.
Yes.
You have to, you're not messing around. So I'd love to see an engineer come tailor or designer. I think that would be really, really interesting to see as well.
But I like how you said, I don't know what, I think you said something along the lines of the engineers in Zambia. I don't know. What made you branch out into other? Yeah.
Because you see, I always get criticized to say, how can you be an engineer and right now you're writing? But I see both as an expression of creativity.
Yeah.
When I went to work in the mines, I found that what I was doing, it was not engineering. Mostly what I was doing was repair and maintenance.
Okay.
There is a branch of engineering that deals with that, but it's a branch I'm not interested in. Because if I was interested in that branch, I would be a technician, not an engineer. Technicians are excellent at maintenance and repair.
Yeah.
Engineers are trained. I'm trained to create. To design, not to repair.
I like that. So you found yourself doing things and you're like, this is not.
I was like, nah. I don't need 5 years to learn how to do that. I can learn it. I can learn it in a 12 month course or 2 years course, not 5 years. You know, engineering, like you said, lots of mathematics, lots of analysis, all those things. Why they're taught? We are taught it's for the purpose of design, not for the purpose of. Yes, you can use it for troubleshooting and repairing, but mostly it's for design.
Yes.
That's what engineering is about. It's for design.
And now I'm thinking about how she's talking about all the analysis and the math that you need for design, and then I'm reminded about God, who is the creator, who has everything in mathematical sequence and everything, if it moves this way. So I'm actually now at this light where I'm like, oh yes, engineers are creatives and stuff like. So it's amazing to hear that story. Yeah.
Really, really amazing. So I mean, it sounds to me that you're a mining engineer, perhaps electrical engineer.
I specialize in telecom. So what we're doing right now, what we're using on this equipment, the sound engineering, the telecoms engineering, there's the sound being transduced into some electrical signal. That's where all that analysis comes from. It goes into the mixer, all those things being mixed together, the sounds, the filtration of the noise, all that is engineering. That's telecoms engineering, which is what I did, and I love telecoms engineering.
So when you found yourself fixing and repairing things and maintaining things, why didn't you try perhaps another industry, not necessarily mining, maybe an actual telecommunication company? Why didn't you think of it that way?
I did try. I did apply many times, and I was very depressed when I was rejected by one of these telecoms. I won't mention.
Yes.
I was going to, but no.
Advertising.
No, I really, really, really wanted to work there. But what I found interestingly is some of my friends who worked there, they eventually experienced the same dissatisfaction that I experienced. They told me, you know what? I'm not doing anything. I'm just seated by the computer, maintaining the things we've imported. As long as a country is not industrializing, we are underutilizing engineers. And those who really, really love engineering, they will not be interested in maintaining something that has already been made. We're interested in making something. Yes.
And it's funny you say that. I have a friend of mine who studied engineering, and he came home and he said, I don't want to end up at the mine doing something that doesn't allow me to create. So he ended up working overseas, creating a subway system. So I didn't understand, but he really wants to work and to use his skills.
When you're a passionate engineer, you want to create things. That's the whole thing. I know there are other engineers who are okay with maintaining. I'm just not one of them.
She's like, I want to use my.
There's really an outcry, from, the common man, for instance. I see on Facebook sometimes where people say, we have so many mangoes in Zambia that go to waste, so many tomatoes in the seasons when tomatoes do well. You go to Soweto and find just the rot, so much that we can't even deal with. And sometimes you hear the common man say, why should we allow this when we've got a country that produces, we produce engineers. So why can't we have a simple juicer? Why can't we have a simple tomato, processing piece of equipment? And coming from a local engineer, that would even help to design something that is made with the understanding of the local challenges,
the local
electricity, access to space for some, and things like that. So sometimes there's a cry from the common man.
Yes.
What would you say? Can Susan design one, or does it always have to take a bigger system to get this done?
Okay. Luckily for me, I can say luckily, I've got a project where I'm designing a machine, but I'm just maybe one of the few because I had the privilege to get a grant, a youth innovator grant.
Awesome.
Engineering goes, it's a bigger. Okay, there's the small side and the big side.
Yes.
The small side is where individuals can use their own resources and pump in money. You see, the way engineering works is there's a stage called R&D, research and development, where you pump in money to find out how you're going to do this thing. Let's say you're trying to make a cell phone, as a simple example. You have to decide, okay, that's a complicated example. Let's say you're trying to design a can.
Yes.
A can where you should be putting juice. You have to first sit down and decide what materials you're going to use, what weight are they going to be, what combination are they going to be, something that won't react with whatever liquid you're going to put inside. That part where you are going through the research and development, maybe it can even take a year or more years. What I find locally is most of us don't have a long-term view. We're not willing or interested to invest in something where the benefits are so far ahead in the future. We are kind of short-term minded.
Yes.
So when you're short-term minded, you're not going to engineer anything. Right now I'm reading the autobiography of Steve Jobs, and I'm seeing how much research and development and expenditure went into any of his products, like the iPhone, before the actual product comes out.
Right.
Wow.
So we are not really willing as a people. I can't point at anyone in particular. As a people generally, we're not willing to do that initial investment.
Yes.
People want something that's already finished. That's why we want to import things that have already been made somewhere else. We just want the final product.
And it's funny that she says that. We had a guest a week and a half ago who said the same thing.
Yeah.
We don't know how to wait.
Yeah.
When we start something, we don't stay with it long enough to see the fruit of it.
True.
So you want a quick thing, come and assemble it, get from China, assemble here, and then say it's my product. And I love how she's talking about autobiographies.
Because she talks about the same thing.
Yes.
Reading, identifying an individual that inspires you and read how did they get it done. So it's same language. It's like, I don't even think you heard that show, because Susan is based on the Copper Belt. Did you hear us live streaming? Do you get us sometimes there?
No, but I need to start.
You do. You do.
But I do follow you on Facebook.
Yes. Wow. So that's amazing. So this short-term mentality is killing us.
It's killing. That's why we're building shopping malls rather than factories.
Do not get me started.
Do
not get me started.
We are more of consumers than producers. To be a producer, you have to be patient.
Yes.
You have to be willing to sacrifice.
And
you have to be willing to pump in some money where you're not even sure whether the result will come out the way you want or not. We are so risk averse.
So, in other words, Susan is being very diplomatic here. If I go into my Miss P self, my yanganepo. Yes. No, generally speaking, I am not the kind of individual that will use phrases like that, my yanganepo.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm very cognizant of the fact that there are certain frameworks that can, that can only be put in place by a government, and then we begin to filter in and things begin to happen. There's certain things that you can never develop as an individual on your own. I beg to be corrected if I'm wrong, but some things just have to be done on a bigger scale, and we need those frameworks to be put in place by the government.
Wow.
Okay, that's actually an interesting. Now that you mention it, I told you I'm designing a machine right now. Okay, so I came up with the idea for the machine when I was at the university. I'm just a student. I need when I first went to look for a quotation, I was told 23,000. It was million then, 23 million. I'm a student. I'm getting 300 kwacha as my allowance. I don't come from a very well-to-do family. Where will I get this money to just to get, because for you to really come up with a product as an engineer, you're not going to do it as an individual. You need a team.
Wow. Yeah.
How do you motivate the team to come in? You need some money. You need to do research. You need to do tests. You need to buy some equipment, some software. We have to do the design simulations and all those things. So I needed money. Luckily for me, I started applying for, the government actually has got a branch which sponsors innovations. So I applied and explained my innovation, and then I won that grant. So now I have the money, and I'm working with other engineers who are more experienced with machine design, because all innovations are done by teams. Nobody does.
No one is an island.
We always say Steve Jobs made an iPhone. I was just laughing the other day. I was telling my husband, do you know how many people were involved in making the iPhone? It's a team, a big team, and it's not just Apple. There are other companies. This company does this part, that company does. It's really about collaboration.
Lovely.
Extensive collaboration.
Awesome. Extensive collaboration.
Expensive. I was like,
extensive. Oh, wow. All right. There's so many lessons that I'm picking from what Susan is saying, Tehila. If I go back, there are aspects of creativity and talk about issues of teamwork and extensive collaboration and being able to be a forward planner. When you break it down into everyday life, do you realize that perhaps these are the things that we have also been highlighting for our individual lives as as people and as children of God? Because you see, each one of these can be boiled down to your personal sphere, which brings me to my next question. After you faced the frustration in the workplace, how then did you transition into entrepreneurship and just beginning to realize your dream and exercise your creativity and all else?
Okay, for me, I've always known that I want to work for someone for a very long time, maybe because my father was an entrepreneur also, and most of the time he worked for himself. So when I started having those frustrations, I was like, my days here are numbered. I thought I'd work for like 5 years, but just after 3 years, I remember the moment I was sitting in the office. I just overheard people saying, the company is announcing voluntary separation. I was so excited. I knew I'm going.
That's so exciting.
You see, some people
others get sick.
You see, some people in that group were depressed.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, maybe they'll pick me for redundancy. I was super excited. I was like, I hope they pick me.
Wow.
I just knew I had to leave. I was just not happy. Yeah, so after I quit my job, I tried different businesses. There were a lot of challenges, but it's been 5 years now. I've learned so much, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy about it. About a year ago, I got rid of my CV.
Wow. I like her. Look at the picture.
Did you see me boodling at her?
I got rid of my CV. The whole people's holy grail.
You know what happens when you go into business? Maybe when you're starting out okay, and then the challenges come and you're like, why am I troubling myself? You know what? Let me just find a job. After all, I've got some education.
Yes.
And then you're one step into the job search, the other step into business. It becomes really stressful, and the job market is rough. It's quite rough.
Right.
So I had to decide, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself fully into this. So yeah, it's really worked out well for me. And I wanted to comment,
Go ahead.
We always have this interesting discussion about the role of the government in helping engineers develop. I'm going to say what I always tell my friends: we need to stop that. I know, yes, an enabling environment will be better, but what if the people who are supposed to make that enabling environment don't really appreciate its importance? So we have to do what we can as individuals. So you have to do what you can as an individual. So I'm really hoping I could do something in that area.
Lovely.
One way or another, yeah.
I was going to ask, how was when you quit your job, how was that first year? Did you think, oh gosh, what have I done? Let me backtrack. Or what were your thoughts? How was it? What did you go through?
Okay, when I just left, because the severance package was quite okay.
Oh, okay.
So for the first few months, it was a lot of fun. I was happy about it. And then I ran out of money.
Oh, bless. After the fun, you're like...
I was like, wow, okay. Should I go back? And interestingly, when I was leaving, my boss said, if you ever want to come back, you should come back. So I was
Wow.
thinking,
Really?
maybe I should take him up on that offer. Maybe I should go back and speak to him. But maybe because I was so unhappy with my job, I really couldn't go back. So I started trying many different things. I really went through a very stressful period as an entrepreneur where I ran out of money. I didn't know where to get more funding. I really didn't know how to run a business. You know, sometimes you just start.
Yes.
You know, entrepreneurs are self-starters.
Yes.
So sometimes we start even when we're not ready. And it's
Yes,
okay.
just run.
It's okay to start.
Just run, Pedro.
It's okay
Yes.
to start. I think you should start.
Helicopter chikopokopo kind of thing. Just
go.
I'm
Yeah,
starting.
you just get started. I still think it's okay to get started, but it's important, I think, to educate yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
R&D.
yeah, R&D. So I went through a very rough period where I paid for mistakes of not having business running knowledge.
Okay.
So that's why I always argue with the belief that I'm not starting business because I don't have money. So I always tell people, you know what, I started business with money, but it still failed. It's not always about money.
Wow.
You have to know how to manage the money. You have to know how to run the business. So I went through a period where I had run out of money, and now I had to start from scratch. And if I
Okay.
could start over, I wouldn't start with money.
Oh, wow.
I would start with little, because when the one who can manage little, you know,
Wow.
Yes.
can
Yes.
manage more.
Yes.
So
and that is,
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
How she said reduce. And I think, I don't know if I told you, Penjani, I was like, sometimes God withholds lots of money because you don't even know where you put it if you brought it.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like, okay, God, we prayed for this, but what am I going to do? And I love how you say you needed to manage the money. Because if you can manage, like you're saying, if you can manage a little, when you get rich and up there, it won't even be an issue. It's the same system. It's just bigger. It's
Yes.
just getting bigger and bigger. So I
Yes.
love how she said, I wouldn't even start with a lot of money. Because sometimes a lot of money, you even get excited and you even get things you're not supposed to
It's
get.
true.
Yeah, you know? So I really love, and that discipline.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when someone asks me, I want to start a business, what business do you think I can do? I ask them what they know about running business. When they tell me they don't know, they're not sure, I said the first thing you need to do is educate yourself, buy a book, attend a seminar, get some kind of training, although not academic training, but
Just training.
some kind of hands-on,
Okay.
something
Okay.
that will give you practical knowledge. Yeah.
Wow. How many businesses did you start? Because you said
I've tried more than 10 different businesses.
Wow.
in 10 years,
how many
in
have
5 years.
have succeeded?
2.
Wow. Which ones?
Wanawanga is relatively okay.
Awesome.
Yes. And my writing business. my blogging.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What failed?
What felt good?
Let's talk about the
Yes.
one that
Let's go
failed.
through the list.
Awesome.
I tried car hire. That failed. I tried photography. That failed. I tried web design. Although I still have clients for web design.
Okay.
But I always try to tell them, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. And then some of them will say, no, but we want you to be the one to do it.
Okay.
Okay, but that failed. I had very... In fact, when I initially ran out of money, I thought, what skills do I have that I can use right now? And coming from a technical background, it was easy to
Yes.
transition into web design because
Yes.
there's already some computers
Yes.
and programming
Yes.
there. But the
What's
cash
in your
flow,
hands?
Yes, the cash flow was very bumpy, and I wasn't an excellent designer. So I couldn't really get the big clients to pay the big bills.
Okay.
So yeah, I count it as a failed business.
Okay.
Yes. Although I still get inquiries. Yeah. I do social media marketing. That is doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing that failed is the events. I can't say it failed, but it became too much for me. I pulled out. Yes, we're doing a baby event. What else?
Events. H. Okay.
Machine hire. Yeah, machinery hire. That was a family business. It failed.
What machinery? Agriculture?
No, crane hiring. They use it for construction.
Right.
It's potentially very lucrative,
Yes,
actually.
yes.
When you handle it well, you can get some really, really big money, but a lot of factors, and that also didn't work out. Okay, the list.
Interesting.
Trading, that failed. I had a boutique here in Osaka. That was actually my first investment.
Wow.
Yeah, that failed. I closed it. And closing a business is really tough decision.
Yeah.
Really, really tough decision.
Yeah.
But I did. And through the experience, I've grown as an entrepreneur. I've become stronger, become more knowledgeable, more skilled. I know how to assess risk. I still want to jump in when there's an opportunity, but it's not just jumping in blindly. I calculate the risk. I weigh the risk and ask myself whether I can handle the worst case scenario before I proceed.
She doesn't do that jump where you just go. I'm thinking like in the pool and you just jump. Okay, hit me first. And then
I still jump, but I should make sure that at least I can float, so that I don't drown.
No losses, no drowning.
No
Lovely.
drowning. There can be some losses, but it should be not to leave me in so much stress and debt. No, you shouldn't drown. You should be able to float.
You should be able to float. Yeah. Which brings us, we've started in reverse today. It brings us to the title of this show, Prosper in Your Place. I deliberately asked you what you failed at.
Yes.
To show that prosperity does not always come from always winning.
Yes.
Tell us about how you are now in a place where you've found your feet. Yeah, tell us about that.
Okay. I like how you say prosperity is not always about winning. So this is the reason why it's important to have a very healthy view of failure. It's been known throughout the world that actually failure, the fear of failure is the number one obstacle that keeps people from trying to do something. But it's only through failure, you have to look at failure as a learning point that propels you to the next stage. All these failures I've gone through, I've gained valuable lessons, the kinds of lessons I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else, not even in school. I've gained a lot of street smarts. I've learned about people, I've learned about businesses, and I've learned a lot about myself. My strengths and my weaknesses and my skills, my passion. When I started, I didn't really know me. So you have to really know yourself.
Right.
And understand that your source of prosperity is not another person's source of prosperity. We have this copycat. Because Benjamin is doing this,
I should also do it.
I should also do it. But I don't even have a singing voice. How am I going to do it?
Sing! Oh my gosh, yes.
So I think one of the most, if I had to give a one sentence advice, is know yourself.
Wow.
Know yourself.
I was trying all these things, not really knowing what really is my passion, what really drives me. But now I've reached that point where I really know what drives me. And even when a business opportunity comes, I've been having, when people see you persist in business, they start offering you opportunities.
Yes.
I have now learned to say, that's a good opportunity, but not for me. It's not for me.
That's
wonderful.
Good. And a place of maturity.
Yes.
That's why we say no, it's okay, because we want to jump on everything. Milo, my events. The next week, track.
Yes.
But it's okay. Sometimes you go through that process, learn and to grow and to mature. Then you reach a point where you say, no, that's a good opportunity. I think it can make someone some money. It will just not be for me.
For me.
Yeah, somebody else.
I know a lot of people who are like that. And they literally they're cyclic in business, in the sense that not healthy cycles or the documented kind of cycles that we all know that businesses go through cycles, but I mean the kind of, have you ever met those individuals who for 2 years cement, they'll be selling cement.
Yes.
When that business goes down, when they hear that, kushangombo kusenda katuishi, what they would find in Shangombo.
The majority of Zambians are like that, actually.
Right. Is that a healthy thing?
It's not a healthy thing. It comes from a misconception. Misconception that more is more. Like the more businesses you try, it's better. And it also comes from not really understanding that your passion can be turned into a business.
Yes.
The big obstacle is thinking my passion can't really be turned into a business.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at a person like, because some people have a passion, but they're not sure how they can turn it into a business. I'll give you an example of Oprah. Her passion is talking to people.
Yeah.
And she's made a lot of money talking to people.
Yeah.
So if you're a talkative person, you love talking to people.
Right.
And you might be thinking, but how can I turn this into a business? So really what we lack is how to discover first our passion, embrace our passion, and then turn it into a business. Most of us have been brought up in an environment where we're facing in one direction, go to school, then find a job. That's it. We need to encourage more open-mindedness in thinking, be able to embrace more possibilities. I think we just need to be more open-minded. Otherwise, we have so much potential, I'm telling you.
Wow. And I like how she said the passion, because this afternoon I was talking to a young lady who just did nails out of necessity. And then our friend said, make money. Why are you doing it for free? And that's how a business started. So I like how you say, maybe in reverse, from your passion, make money. Because we always feel like, oh, okay, no, I have to get a job that actually says this job will pay me.
Okay.
Instead of changing, just saying, oh, I like doing gardens. Let me make money, and be a landscape, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I love how you say that people don't see their passion as a business venture and say, okay, I'll go into that.
You know, my mentor always emphasizes something when he's talking about how do you start a business? What opportunity should you look for? He says that's the wrong question.
Oh,
that's the question.
Wow.
That's the question people who are struggling in business ask. The question you should be asking is, what problem can I solve using the resources I have? And those resources refer to your talent, your skill, your knowledge, and your interest.
Your talent, your skill,
your knowledge
and your interest.
Something that goes naturally with you.
Notes.
Your talent,
Yes.
your skill,
Yes.
your knowledge, and your interest.
Notice she hasn't said money.
No.
Because we get stuck on the money part.
Many people get stuck on the money part.
Yeah.
And when I talk to them, I find that actually they already have a talent somewhere. Let me give you an example. That's why they said that 80% of success in psychology is really about the way you're thinking about something. I met this young lady. She's got a child. She's struggling. She's struggling to make money for her baby. But she's got the skill of plaiting hair.
Yes.
So the biggest obstacle to her making money there is thinking that I can't make enough money from plaiting hair. But
So
that's just
the thinking.
That's just the thinking. It's possible to make money from plaiting hair.
Let me be the devil's advocate. Sometimes people think like that because I've got a friend who has studied XYZ, the top 5.
Yes.
We shall not mention names.
Yes.
And at the end of the month, they get 15,000. With my hair plating, good, I'm excellent and all, but I'll only be able to charge 200 kwacha. And I only have 24 hours in a day. Broken down, perhaps only 8 of those are working. Meaning that depending on the hairstyle, whereas my friend who has studied that, her worth per day is, arguably 1,000 kwacha or 800. But for me, if I utilize all the, practical hours, maybe my worth is only coming to 300. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
So how do we deal with that?
That is a missing gap. The missing gap here is knowledge. There are 3 keys. You need to have the knowledge, you need to have the right business, and then you need to have the right mindset. So from the situation you've described, the missing gap is knowledge.
Okay.
How do you leverage? What you need to do there is to leverage, because you are using your time. If you're trading time for money, you're going to limit your prosperity.
Okay.
Because there's limited amount of time. So now you have to learn how to create systems. You have to learn how to train other people.
Wow.
You have to learn how to build a team to help you.
Wow.
You see, look at a person like a doctor. All personal services are like that. There's only so much money you can make because of the limit of the time. So per consultation, the doctor maybe spends time with you 20 minutes or 30 minutes. There's only so many patients you can see in a day. How do they make more money? Now it comes to open thinking. How else do I do this? You hire more people. Do you conduct training? Do you conduct coaching? Do you write a book? Do you produce a program that other people can teach themselves? Whatever it is you're trying to do, do you train other people, like a trainer of trainers, that kind of thing? You really have to start opening your mind and not just think, I can only plait hair. You have to be able to hire other people to help you. Or as you build your brand, you charge premium. You can charge premium.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Because the next question would be, salon business is hard. When I train people, they all go and start their own salon. So, sorry, I'm really just going down into, we want to make the program as practical
Yes,
as it can be for our listeners. Yeah.
You know, I've got this, she's not really a friend, but somebody I know from the Copper Belt. She's got 7 salons. Wow. Okay? She's running 7 salons.
Wow.
What's the difference between her and someone who's struggling to make money from plating? She has business knowledge of how to grow a business, a personal services business, and she has business knowledge of how to keep people after training them. There will always be people who will leave. That's normal. But then you have to acquire the knowledge, human resource knowledge of how to retain trained people. Wow. There will always be people who will leave. How do you protect yourself legally from them? Maybe living with your trade secrets. That is knowledge. My mentor always tells me there are only 3 things. You need the right mindset, you need the right knowledge. Knowledge, it's 2 types of knowledge. Business specific knowledge. You're a hair plater, you need to know more about hair plating.
Yes.
But you also need business specific knowledge, business strategy, sales and marketing, human resource management, and accounting. These 3 are very critical.
Very critical.
So a person can have the skill, they can have the knowledge of how to do that particular job, but they won't have the knowledge. If they don't have the knowledge of how to run a business that does that job, then they're going to struggle. Yeah, so it's there's a lot involved really to run a successful business. It's not just the skill.
And I like how you're saying when you're talking about time, and if you're paying yourself by the hour, you're already limited.
Yeah, because there's only 24 hours.
Yes, and I like the way you're saying leverage and maximize.
And create systems.
And hire more people. What maybe because you were plaiting one person, it was maybe 100 kwacha every 2 hours or something. If there are 4, you know that you've
multiplied yourself.
You need to multiply yourself and replace yourself.
Multiply and replace yourself. You and me need to multiply and replace ourselves. And I think Penjani, I don't know if I shared this. I shared a post with my friend Penjani, but a friend of mine had posted about entrepreneurs. The holy grail of entrepreneurs is control. They want to control everything. And because you're controlling everything, you're not growing. You want to be there everywhere. You're there. You're the one doing the deliveries. You're the one at home and blah, blah, blah. But it's in that replicating yourself. And creating these systems that are excellent. And because even all these companies that we see this, they all have a manual how things work.
Those are systems.
So that anyone can walk in and
amazing. And that's the reason why I was about to mention names, but that's how you find there are certain groups of lodges or hotels. These hotel chains.
If
I go to one in Santon, it will be the same as the one in Pretoria.
Those are systems.
Or Cape Town, you know, or even in Zambia if they've done a good job. Systems.
It's about systems. Imagine one of these restaurants, which I won't name, they make food in a certain way. Let's say I start that business because I love making food. How many customers can I serve? I can't really prosper from that unless I create systems to replace myself, so that I focus on other things like sales and marketing, managing the people, doing the accounts. You know, there's this saying that if you love cooking, don't start a restaurant.
Why?
I know.
I've never heard that one.
I've actually never heard that one too.
You too?
Yeah,
okay, I feel less
like
down, girl. Give me a high five. Najufu will be nuts. Yo, but that's a nice one. Tell us why.
If you love cooking, don't open a restaurant. Because cooking and running a restaurant are 2 different things. Cooking happens in the kitchen. Running a restaurant happens in the office.
So like you're saying,
if you try to do both, you'll be stressed out.
Definitely.
And then you'll struggle.
Okay.
And then you'll hate business.
So what should I do if I love cooking?
If you love cooking, find a job as a cook.
No.
Or if you do open a restaurant, hire somebody else to run the restaurant,
system
so that
for
you stay in
the kitchen, developing your recipes and all of that. Interesting. Really interesting.
And also, I think an important thing is hiring help. I'm an entrepreneur, so sometimes I think we've talked about it with Penjani. Bringing someone in, you feel like they won't do what you're doing. So
Yeah.
you feel like,
you want
know
to
what?
be there. You want. I remember with my events sometimes, especially when I used to work with my young sisters, they would literally come and just get me like, "We are done. Let's go. Let's go."
And they're
Because
like,
they will
"No."
find me going around and now starting to identify things which are not even really there, and you really want to.
Your baby, so
you want to feel everything. You want to see everything. If you're into baking, you don't even trust that the other person who you have hired will get it as fluffy, or the right combination. So those are just perhaps some of the challenges with certain trades, for instance. But I think that's the greatest thing I'm picking from that is just that what that statement carries. If you love to cook, don't open a restaurant. By the way, disclaimer, listeners, she is not saying do not go and make a business out of your passion. What we have dissected this, and we've come to the conclusion that it's now about setting up the right system to get your gift to flourish, and then now you're not just ending up being frustrated.
Yes, because if you love cooking, you want to be in the kitchen, you love the whole process of cooking.
Yeah.
But somebody has to look at the suppliers, somebody has to bring the ingredients, somebody has to look at the marketing, the sales and marketing, bring in more customers, somebody has to look at the books, somebody has to deal with ZRA issues, Bakra issues.
Yeah.
You can do all that and also be in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
And have the business flourish.
My
it's too much
gosh.
work for one person.
Somebody will then say, "But Susan, I don't know if you believe."
You have to be
You
there.
have to be there. How do I deal with that? And I mean, these are the genuine, things that you hear when you get to mingle with. I want to talk about, the entrepreneurs that I've mingled with locally.
Yes,
They worry about theft.
Yeah, we need to get real. One of the biggest headaches of running a successful business is managing people.
Managing people.
It's actually usually harder than the business itself.
Yes.
So
Wow.
what I think is the solution to that is to really learn human resource and also to have systems in place. I used to joke with someone when I opened my boutique. She was saying, "Your boutique will fail because you're not there." So I said, "Do you think the owner of that supermarket with so many branches is there?" No, they're not there. They've put a system to manage that. But the challenge with small businesses, we may not have all the resources for a full system.
Now
So you
we're
have to
talking.
do kind of like a scaled down version of a system.
Okay.
Because you have to get started somewhere.
Yes.
Because they have software, they have scanners, all those security cameras and all those things. So
Right.
now you have to think of a scaled down version. You have to be realistic for you to get started. You can't go to that stage where they are. You have to do something that is doable for your stage. So in that case, you have to learn what a system is and how can you do what is called a minimum viable process, like a minimum viable system which you can do for yourself. Let's say you're a restaurant. I was talking to someone who was opening a restaurant. I told her, for you to have a system, you can't be doing custom meals because then the running of the restaurant will depend on you. Have a menu, train people that this is the menu that we hold. Then you have to have a strategy of protecting. If you have some secret ingredient, you know one of these big companies, a very popular drink, it has a secret ingredient which nobody else knows. So if there's some secret recipes, you have to learn the legal side of how to manage, how to protect it.
Right.
Wow.
So that even as you are delegating, you say, I'm delegating up to this much, but this part, this I never delegate.
Oh, okay.
Or this I only share with this group of people, and we have maybe a non-disclosure agreement or that kind of thing.
Yes.
So it's about, so moving from that struggling stage to the next stage, it's about two things: getting more knowledge and also growing as a person. Okay.
Go ahead. No, finish the thought.
To be able to handle fear, because there's fear. What if I lose my what if they steal from me?
Yeah.
You have to really be able to handle bigger risk, face bigger fears. You have to grow as a person.
Wow.
My mentor always tells me, if you want to hold more success, you need to grow. You need to become a bigger person. Be able to handle more problems, more stress, be able to face bigger fears. Otherwise, you stay small.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about bigger risks. There's I read this article in the Forbes Africa book about this man in Nigeria who went into the rain by $1 billion.
Guys.
And I'm sitting like, oh my gosh! But he started to make it back. But when you talk about big risk, those guys are big boys. So to them it was like, okay, I've lost money.
Yeah.
Now how do I? And that picking yourself up to say, let me go make this money again.
Yeah.
Because some of us, you lose like a 5,000, you even stop.
Nah, Fileka. Business is not for me.
No, now that you mentioned the 5,000, let me use this example. To you, losing a 5,000 is a problem. Okay? To somebody above you, that's nothing. To someone below you, oh, that's a disaster. 5,000, that's a disaster. So this is an example that shows that for you to be able to handle that level of success, you have to grow as a person.
Oh,
so
nice.
you're going to have problems
Yes.
that match your capacity.
Yeesh.
You mean if a street kid loses 5,000, can you imagine what a disaster that would be?
Doomed for I don't know how many.
You and I lose 5,000, maybe we'll be stressed for a few days, but usually we'll bounce back.
Okay.
But if Bill Gates loses 5,000, come on, what are we talking about?
Right.
That's nothing.
A negligible amount that's
Negligible. Okay, let's move on. Or how do we avoid losing a 5,000 tomorrow?
Yes.
But we're not stopping because we lost a 5,000.
Yeah.
Listeners, we only have just about 5 minutes. We would love to hear from you. We cannot open the lines, but we can take some text messages, and the number is 0977-336085. 0977-336085. We only have 5 more minutes in the studio with the lovely lady Susan Mwenda Mlongoti. So prospering in my place, I am doing my best, and let's imagine somebody's writing in today, and then reality hits. My cash flow is not consistent. It's a great idea. The few that I get to serve love my product or my service, but I'm not consistent. So how do you want me to keep on prospering in my place, Susan? Well, it seems okay, we lost that one. Do get in touch with us, 0977-336085.
I wrote a PDF. It's a free PDF, by the way. I'll make it available soon on my website. What to do when your business is struggling. A lot of things you have to look at. Ask yourself, are you lacking in any of the important 3 areas? Are you doing something that naturally goes with what you like? Are you good at what you're doing? Let me use some of my own personal failed businesses, okay? The first business failed because I didn't have enough knowledge of how to run a business. My web design business, by the time I was doing it, I knew how to run a business, but I wasn't good at what I was doing. So you have to be honest. Most of us live in denial. Many people say, I'm very good at this. But when you look at the work, you're thinking, no, not really. So you have to be able to really be open and honest with yourself. Where really am I lacking? If you're not sure, then maybe what you need to do is educate yourself. The worst kind of ignorance is not knowing what you don't know. And the only way you can discover that is by educating yourself, reading books. This guy, Strive Masiyiwa from Zimbabwe, he says the most important business skill is reading.
Wow.
And I completely agree with you. If there's one thing that has completely transformed how I behave in business and my personal life, everything, is reading. Knowledge is super powerful.
Who else says that? Tony
Robbins?
No, the Nigerian
Elemelu.
Yes.
Yeah, reading.
He says he reads every week. He tries to
wow.
finish a book.
Yes. So now, one of the first things I learned to do is to read every day. I read every day.
Okay.
Wow.
And 30 minutes to 1 hour.
What is Susan reading? Let's be specific, because
Right
others
now,
here Nima Mills and Bone.
Never. I've stopped that.
I'm kidding.
Okay. No, I mean, it's good to... I do read once in a while a novel. I like John Grisham.
Okay.
But maybe I can pass 6 months, even close to a year, without reading a novel.
Right.
So I read business books. I read autobiographies. Right now, I'm reading Steve Jobs. That's why I was talking about engineering and how I'm learning. There's so much teamwork and so much collaboration for you to produce a good product. So I read books like Poor Dad, Rich Dad. That was my first. It's always my first recommendation to someone who's never read business books.
Okay.
Which one?
Poor Dad, Rich Dad.
Yes.
Yes,
Very
it's
good,
Rich Dad,
easy.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
It's very
Robert
easy
Kiyosaki.
and it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But I've read so many books. I think I've read over 100 from the time I started reading seriously, and it's totally transformed. So when I'm struggling, I look at the time I was really struggling and now. The major difference is the knowledge.
Okay.
That's the biggest difference, is the knowledge.
Wow. So knowledge just shifts your And you know what's funny, Susan, right? I was telling Penjani that I did a course, which I think the institute I did that needs to promote it a bit more. I was running a business and I didn't know whether I was going or coming.
Yeah.
I was just doing what I like. And
I know the feeling.
And then something told me, actually, I told one of the guys at the place, I'm like, you tricked me into this program. You know, because I went there for some advice and they're like, oh, do this program. And as I sat there and I'm like, oh my gosh, the gaps, my accounts.
Yeah.
Do I even have a catchy, what the marketing?
It's a slogan.
Yes,
that's
a
sales
slogan.
and marketing.
Yes.
Sales and marketing knowledge is very important.
I'm telling you, and I'm sitting there. What is your? Is it UVP? What is your?
Unique selling point? It's a USP.
I don't know. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't have that. You know,
many people don't. Actually.
Yes, and then they start showing you how these companies have succeeded because they pull in the customer. And I was telling, I met someone today who studied the psychology of consumerism and all that stuff, and I'm just like, there's a science behind it. So that class really helped me, and just doing a business plan as well. That you have to have your accounts in order, otherwise you are not going anywhere. You're just
excellent.
You're just sitting.
Actually, my next book is about that, really, because business is about getting paid.
Yes.
How will you get paid if you don't know effective marketing? You won't.
All right.
So it's really about getting the knowledge.
Oh, wow. This has been so good.
Oh, we're almost done, eh?
Yes.
One quick question. Someone says, hi, I've been listening to the program and I love it. The lady is on point. I'm a businessman and I run a money loaning business. I have systems, and at first I was loaning money without collateral.
Right.
But now I learned from that. My question to you, sisters, is how do you brand your space? Being in my shoes, I'm an accountant by profession. And maybe because he's an accountant, that's why he was able to do all that stuff. And then two more. Good evening, ladies. How can I write a company profile that can sell? I'm thinking of opening a printing company. Divas, I'm listening to your program. It's quite interesting and inspiring, Jimmy. So I'm actually seeing that maybe, Susan, we need to connect people to Susan's page, if you have a Facebook page, and the books that you have as well.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
You know, one of the special things about today, we have Susan in the studio with us, and she launched her first hard copy book, which is titled
6 Ways to Market Your Business Using Facebook.
Tell me that again.
6 ways to use Facebook to market your business in Zambia.
And we have been talking about the power of reading. Listeners, find Susan Mwenda Mulongoti on Facebook. She will give her details shortly, but you want to get your hands on this exciting book. You know, let us change our Facebook habits, huh? Not fear for mulomo
and sharing and funny things
and bullying for some are bullies, some are for cyber bullies, and you know, others use it for snooping on that chick who you think is dating your dude and stuff like that. You know, all of these crazy. Let's start to use this to
constructively to learn.
So I think sorry.
Oh, okay. I wanted her to talk about her just in 15 seconds.
Okay, so my book is out. You can use social media to market. This is what I do now. My consultancy is mostly about marketing because I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship, trying to help other people to improve their businesses. And I see that sales and marketing is a big deal because you have to get paid at the end of the day. If you have more money, most other problems you can solve them with the money. But if you're not getting paid, then you're going to struggle a lot.
Lovely.
Yes.
And so for these other questions, maybe quickly, the one who talked about branding my personal space, maybe you want to go and find, do you think you can tackle that in 10 seconds? If they're listening.
Okay.
Not even personal space, it was their corporate space.
Their corporate space. I'm not sure if I can answer that in 10 seconds.
Okay.
It really depends on who your target audience is. You have to, the quick version is look at something that will be appealing to your target audience. Be very specific about who you are trying to impress. Because how you impress teenagers is different from the way you impress older people. So look at who you are targeting and then think of what will appeal to them.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So Susan, you do have a Facebook page?
Yes, I do have a Facebook page, Susan Mwenda Mlongoti. If you just search that, you'll find it.
And I think we'll put a link on our page, Coffee Table Talks, and I'm sure we can put one on the One Love.
I have a website as well, www.susanmwendamlongoti.com.
And how can they get the book?
They should get in touch with me. It's not yet in the bookstores, but I do have copies that I'm selling one by one. But it will be easier when it's in the bookstores because I just got the print copies yesterday.
All right.
So I'm talking to the bookstores this week and next week. Yes.
So if you would like to get a copy of this book, 6 ways to market your business in Zambia on Facebook or something like that. It's quite long, but then that's the basic gist. 6 ways to market your business on Facebook in Zambia.
Yes.
Get in touch with Susan Mwenda Mlongoti. Get down practical, use some of these tips that she has shared today, and I'm sure she'll be able to even answer your questions if you get in touch with her and get an autographed copy. In the next few weeks, perhaps we can get a chance to review her book here on Coffee Table Talks and let you know how we get to, digest and pick out some practical lessons for you. So
we have come to the end of our show. I really enjoyed the show.
I did.
More like a business refresher for me. I'm like, yes, you can't just do things.
Yes.
As Brittany likes to say, you're just going with your business.
Yes.
Yeah. So do check out Susan's Facebook page. We'll post some information on our Coffee Table Talks page, and you can start learning from there. And look out for information online.
Yeah.
Just how to run a business and stuff like that. So we're on Thursday at 18:30, and it has been Tehila
Penjani
and
our lovely
lady.
lady.
Thank you so much for coming to
Thank
the
you,
studio.
Susan Mwenda Mlongoti. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Till next time, and I'm leaving you with a song called Good Life.